Welcome to the Growlers and Gremlins podcast, an alcoholic adventure in cryptids, paranormal, and the occult. Coming to you weekly from the heartland of America.
Hi, welcome to Growlers and Gremlins podcast. I am Jesse, the Plan B guest, and to my left is
John, your favorite host and theorist. And to my left is yawning and leaning far away from his mic is
Brian, motherfuckers. I'm back again.
And I'm Jason, the analyst and actual favorite host.
Okay, so this week we are trying out the Brewlink a hole-in-one jelly donut sour.
Yes.
I'm not excited.
I'm so
John
excited.
is so
I love
excited.
this.
I don't know how to feel yet.
You guys were so happy those first two
All right,
beers,
let's
and I was
taste
like, "This is
it.
my favorite brewery,"
Let's
and then I
taste
give
it.
you these other two.
You did the same thing on the last one.
I don't.
Delicious.
I should have known better. I shouldn't have poured a full glass. I don't like sours, apparently.
It tastes
This
like
one
a raspberry
is
jelly donut.
very sour, way more sour than the last one.
It's so good.
It's not gross, it's just like, it's not beer.
It's not for me.
Think about that raspberry filling in the jelly donuts. You
Oh,
know?
It's not that bitter.
I'm getting it.
It's so good.
Jesse, are you disrespecting a hole-in-one?
You even taste the
No.
sugar on the outside.
No.
Like, imagine a
By
Dunkin'
drinking that
Donuts
water?
jelly donut.
Mm.
No, I'm trying to
I
cleanse
just
the
can't get
palate
past the
still.
sourness.
Everything is there.
Okay. So our topic this week would be near-death experiences. And we have 3 different types of...
Everybody is wincing at the beer.
When did I wince?
Jason mostly.
Just
Every time he
Jason.
sips a sour, it's like...
So we have our 3 distress near-death experiences. We have inverse, void, Brian,
Fuck you.
and we have hellish. Hellish, you can probably imagine.
It's pretty hellish.
So just to get into it, so our inverse NDE would be mainly floating over your own body, being rushed through space towards the light, and life flashing before your eyes. The void NDE would be lost in a black space or black room. Some hear voices in the black room or this black space. Floating in a black nothing, no sense of body, no right or left, no up or down, just your thoughts. And then hellish is pretty obvious, experiencing hell as we know it to be. Very vivid, clear in what you may see, demons, ghosts. Some see actual gates of hell being torn apart by malevolent beings. Feel actual pain and sorrow, can also hear cries, moans, and screams. So
to clarify, NDEs are called near-death experiences.
yes.
And by near-death, they don't mean final death, but it is death.
No.
Generally, in my experience...
I guess just to get the blanket definition of a near-death experience is when you die and you drift off into some kind of place, maybe, and then you come back. You know,
yeah.
commonly experienced in an emergency room when you flatline, you're dead for, a few minutes to some people have died for almost an hour, and then come back to your body, you're revived.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you see while you're dead, if you see anything, before you come back, then there's your near-death experience.
Well, that's what I was getting at, is that the near-death terminology that it's always used is a little bit confusing because near-death implies you didn't die.
Right.
But generally in a near-death experience, you did die. It's just not finally.
Well, it's mostly dead.
Yeah, you're not.
It's dead by all medical measures.
Yeah, like
Well,
your
the-
heart stops beating.
The brain hasn't started collapsing on itself. Your neural pathways are still...
Depends on how long you're dead.
Right.
And that's where, with your brain trying to figure out what the hell is going on while your heart stops, that's where you have your near-death experience. Some don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Some remember vividly what happened while they were gone.
Some make it up and get major book deals and a movie deal.
Yep.
Who was that?
I mean, I'm not trying to accuse here, but there was a book that came out a few years back where this family claimed that their little boy, like, died and came back, and he saw his grandpa and he met Jesus and all this stuff, and it was all just a little too perfect, you know. And then the book was a bestseller, and then they got a movie deal and all this, and the whole thing just felt a little, you know, what was that called though?
Sounds like you're throwing shade.
I'm throwing a little shade there, but what was that called?
A book?
It was a book. It was about. I gotta look it up now.
Well, you're the only one here that worked at a bookstore, so you should be the one to know.
Well,
Yeah.
while John is looking this up, I got just a couple of short stories. This one falls into the void and the E category.
Heaven is for Real
There we go.
by Todd Burpo.
So a woman in childbirth found herself abruptly flying over the hospital and into deep empty space. A group of circular entities informed her she never existed, that she had been allowed to imagine her life, but it was a joke. She was not real. She argued with facts about her life and descriptions on Earth. No, they said, none of that had ever been real. This is all there was. She was left alone in space. Yeah, terrible story.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. So basically, this is where it goes into like the void part, where basically nothing matters. Your experiences here on Earth don't mean shit.
Well, it sounds like it's like space alien Ashton Kutcher came out and like, gotcha! And just like left her floating.
You got fucking punked.
Your whole
See
life
ya.
has been punked.
I've never seen Punked.
Oh, I was about to ask if you
you're not
had a
missing
thought or if
anything.
you're trying to
No, it's
not
before
shit
my
yourself.
time.
It was before your time. I watched it.
I feel like
Empty.
Jason though was more of a fan of the one with Jamie Kennedy.
No. That era of television, it would have been Pimp My Ride. I watched that religiously.
I had friends that watched that. I just wasn't into it.
And it wasn't until much later that I found out that that show left people in financial ruin.
Mm-hmm.
Like they get these cars that they just can't afford anymore.
So when I think about that, though, like of all the different kinds of near-death experiences, the ones where people find themselves floating over their body during a traumatic experience makes me think of like dissociation, where like they're mentally just checking out. You know what I mean? Separating themselves from the pain of what's going on.
Yeah, dissociation is like really, you can be pretty out there. Like you're just like floating and not really aware of what's happening around you.
So that's what I think about with those near-death experience where they're like, oh, I was floating above my body, you know, and, you know, those kinds of things. I always think about like dissociation.
But I also think about like sometimes when you're like in that zone where you're just starting to fall asleep and you can't like feel your arms and legs anymore. You're just kind of floating there. Am I the only one that gets that?
You're the only one that gets that.
Okay, well, it's fucking weird. But it's like you're just kind of floating there. Like you just don't feel the bed anymore. I feel like that kind of experience, that kind of like just letting go of consciousness right before sleep is kind of what they're experiencing.
See, my
Is it
falling
like lucid dreaming?
that's a
think
whole
so.
other thing.
Or-
But my falling asleep experience usually goes like this. I never remember actually falling asleep. I just lay in bed frustrated, trying hard to go to sleep, and then I wake up.
I think that's most people's.
Like you
Yeah,
don't.
like,
just lay there and then suddenly
basically
lights
saying
out.
like
I
you
don't
don't.
feel a nice little ease into sleep. It just happens at some point.
Do
I
you
don't
dream?
remember. Sometimes.
So I barely ever remember my dreams. They always say everybody dreams. Doesn't matter. Like
You
always
just
dream.
may or may not remember
Right,
it.
but like I never remember. So to me, it's like, well, I might as well just not say I know I don't dream.
No, you just don't have a soul. That's all.
Yeah, that's, could be.
No soul for you. Have you ever had the experience of waking up by jumping out of your bed by 3 feet and landing flat back on it?
No.
No?
Nope.
Okay, you have no soul then. Because there's the theory that disassociation of your soul from your body, when that happens to you, that's your soul slamming back in from whatever experience it had, and that's why you jump up
I
so
feel like
bad
mine slides in gently.
through your ass.
Sure.
Maybe.
Just like everything else that enters your body.
Slides out gently.
That's why I'm not wincing when I drink the sour beers. Y'all are putting it in the wrong hole.
Who's went? You sending it to your lungs?
You fell off somewhere in there, didn't you?
He's insinuating butt chugging.
I know, but I'm looking at him drink it through his mouth hole.
They don't know that.
I'm trying really hard to taste this jelly donut, and it's just not there. Like,
It's just sour.
I'm just getting like a very fruity sour.
You don't taste the raspberry seeds?
No. Raspberries have seeds.
I do.
That was a stupid fucking question to ask.
Okay.
I knew they did.
Okay.
I don't know why I asked that.
What are the things that define a fruit?
Seeds.
But our
Juice.
I mean, it's raspberries. They're not fruit. They're berries.
Berries are fruit.
Because I thought berries are defined by the seeds being on the outside, like a strawberry.
No, because the seeds are not on the outside of a blueberry or a grape.
Is a grape a berry?
Grape is a berry.
Never really thought of it to be.
It's a bushel.
It makes sense.
Fruit's a fruit. A fruit's got seeds and a fruit's got juice.
A pumpkin's a fruit.
So then,
Yes, it is.
so like a tomato's a fruit,
Yeah, obviously.
or peppers fruits.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, obviously I know people, that's a tomato's a fruit, but it's kind of weird. Most people, I've never heard the argument of a pepper being a fruit, though.
Because most people don't talk about it.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
because it's an asshole thing. Oh, that's the thing your kid comes up. Did you know a fucking pepper is a fruit, technically? It's like, yeah, shut up.
Yeah, then you punch him in the face.
Eat your broccoli. How's that for vegetables? Little shit.
Is a broccoli a fruit? Or are the little things on a broccoli?
What?
A broccoli?
Where are you going here? Is a broccoli a fruit? Come on.
Broccoli doesn't...
Well, because it's got those little... Are
Those aren't
not
seeds.
They're not seeds?
No, those are the leaves.
Okay.
It's
Hey,
just tiny.
I'm not like saying like I thought broccoli was a fruit. It's
Well,
just
you
like,
questioned it.
well, yeah, but it just got me thinking, I guess.
John, is a carrot a fruit?
Well, no, there's no
No.
seeds.
Carrot's a root.
Yeah,
Our
like a
first
potato.
podcast
Whereas other
merch,
people say a root.
A root?
our broccoli fruit.
No, because we were going to have a t-shirt for Jason that says damaged goods. And
Can mine just say broken goods?
what was the other thing?
Oh, I mean, we had talked about the Kevin the Marine diabetic sock.
Yes, a single sock. So what about these other NDEs?
Okay. So let me get back to the stories.
The stories?
Now I have to kind of... Man, I don't think I saved a story about the hellish one.
I can probably
Anyway.
imagine.
Yeah, you can imagine. So like I've read a couple stories where a man had, an NDE, and what he saw was like he says that he saw literal fire and what looked to be gates, which to me, I feel like that was just which that's kind of what all NDEs are, is your brain preparing for death. And it'll show you whatever feelings, although I feel like if your brain's trying to prepare you for death, why would it show you a hell as we think it to be?
Because in your moments before death, you're usually like panicking.
Yeah.
Everything's firing. It's like, oh, this is the worst thing that could be
Right.
happening. And then it probably focuses
And
in
then
on
and-
that.
And then people, like, when they come back, they just feel like, oh no, like I'm
going to hell.
going to hell. Like it's just hell down there.
Little boy, you're going to hell.
So I don't know. Some of the stories like seem like it's more of like trying to get people to believe.
Well, what I think about it is, like dreams don't actually take as long as we feel like we experience them in, right? They're actually happening in an instant.
Like a single snap of your...
Yeah, so it may feel like you had this one dream all night long,
Mm-hmm.
but it really just happened in the seconds before you woke up. What if these near-death experiences are the same thing? It's not as they're going out, it's as the brain is booting up, as it's turning back on.
Right, coming back on, and
It's just like this rapid-fire dream of, whatever their belief system is, whatever they happen to think about last, what movie they watched last.
like what also is crazy to me is how these 3 NDEs, like 3 distressed NDEs, is how all the stories I've read, they all usually fall under these 3 categories, where people either go into a black room with nothing but their thoughts. There's no physical being of them anymore, or they do float over their body and they can see down looking at themselves, at their basically, their corpse, I guess, or they experience the hellish NDE. So it's been like all these stories, they all fall under these three categories, and it's strange that all these recorded NDEs, like they all, like, why is it that they always fall under these three things? Like not just something normal, or I don't know. I guess normal is not the right word.
Right.
Well, technically, if they all keep falling under the same things, then that is normal.
Well, yeah.
John, I'm going to have to ask you to speak up.
Because then there was...
Or into your mic.
So there's another story where a woman has NDE, of course, and during her experience, it was like she had her physical body as she could see it. She was floating over basically like a dark valley where there was like what looked to be demon arms coming up trying to grab at her feet, and she actually felt the pain of these people trying to grab at her, and on the other side of this valley was loved ones, trying to be like, come on, don't look down, just keep coming our way. And I can't quite remember in the story whether these were living loved ones or loved ones that have passed and are on the other side. They are dead, and they're trying to get her like, hey, like, don't look down to the death pit of people trying to grab at you. Like, just keep coming our way. And then she basically, like, she was like stuck floating right over this pit to where if she looked back, there was life. Like her regular life, she could go back to living, or she could pass over to her loved ones. And it was like she was in the NDE and she had a choice to make to where to go back or, I guess, die and go with loved ones, possibly. Obviously, she went back, but
Right.
Just strange stories. And there's some things where I started like looking up like some of the effects that might have on people from NDEs, and some people say that they have gained telepathic skills to where they can know what people are thinking and feeling when they come back. Now I would call that some bullshit.
I've heard a lot of this though through the years of that, like near-death experiences bring you closer to the other side in your life once you've come back.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
What if we had tried to approach this scientifically, and
You kind
What
of
if-
can't though.
no, what if that time where the brain is dead, pathways cross to where your own thoughts
But
are perceived as coming from someone else?
But who's perceiving it?
also your pathways.
The individual that had the near-death
But
experience.
the individual's dead. That's the problem.
The near-death experience, the idea is that they almost died and came back, and then their thinking is altered
Mm-hmm.
to where their own thoughts feel like they're coming from somebody else, and that's why they think they're hearing other people's thoughts.
Another one is precognition, knowing that something's going to happen before it does.
I don't know. I think when you go through a negative enough of an experience that you start to expect every negative thing, and that becomes confirmation bias every time.
Right.
You manage to forget when you were wrong, but every time, you were correct.
These
you think-
effects are rare.
Right.
I mean, if they're even true, of course.
Right. But precognition could be explained in that if you're expecting everything to go wrong and you only like remember when you're correct about that, you're going to be like, I predicted that
Right.
this was going to go wrong.
Mm-hmm. But then it's also like an argument that, maybe like the soul is real.
Mm-hmm.
And when your physical being dies, there's still something there. It's not just like, oh, yeah, bye.
I'm with
I
you
guess.
there.
Like, it's an argument.
Yeah. Steve Jobs, famous dead guy, his sister said that his last words were, "Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow."
What the fuck has happened to you? You were so much energy in the last
I
episode.
have so much gas in my chest. I do not.
Was
feel
that
great.
you?
Yeah.
We can hear that.
Like I have like gas bubbles coming out of my throat. Like
Fucking-
too much beer too fast.
Go throw up or something.
It's like you and Brian just fell off a fucking cliff. You haven't been contributing at all.
I've
really-
been enraptured by the
Well,
tales.
I mean,
I felt that through
it's
the
not
floor.
like the most interesting topic,
It is.
and it's kind of like,
It's pretty interesting.
I mean, like,
I
there's not
have
a-
no
there's-
first-hand experience with
Right.
near-death experiences, so I can't really.
there's not a lot to delve into.
Yeah,
I
It's like-
do.
I mean, we could try. Anybody want to volunteer?
I got experience with near-death experiences, but I don't remember it.
Okay, so anybody
Have
want
your heart has stopped?
Okay, so when I was born,
Okay, well,
to? Oh fuck!
I had a combination of things going on. One was there's a really fancy word for it.
John's lungs were filled with poop.
I inhaled my turds, and
Always knew you were a shithead.
yeah, I was born 2 weeks late, and so I pooped up in there. And in a rush to get that solved, they didn't catch another issue I had. That was that my circulatory system was still relying on my mom's. So when they got me out and cut the umbilical cord, there's another problem. But I mean, that was when I was a little baby.
Little baby.
they probably were like, oh, well, he's
And I
not
remember being walked to the gates of hell.
as a baby.
They already knew.
You weren't going to hell. You were going to purgatory. You unwashed baby Bew.
Ah,
They
purgatory.
were probably like, oh, well, his lungs are full of shit, so that's probably why he's not breathing.
yeah.
John was supposed to be a return to sender soul, but they saved him. You want me to just hit you in the
Little
back?
sleepy baby.
I'm a sleepy baby.
I got 3 hours.
We even started like 3 hours earlier so that
Yeah.
you wouldn't be tired.
Beer makes me sleepy.
'Cause we're not,
oh my god, a depressant makes you sleepy?
it's because we're not like mainly sitting down drinking beer.
Well, and my butt's uncomfortable and my feet are hot. I was going to take my shoes off before this episode and I forgot.
Why didn't you?
Just pop
Because
them
I
off.
forgot.
Just take them off.
Pop them off, John.
All right, guys, here we go. This is a special exclusive for the listeners.
Nobody's going to hear you taking your fucking shoes off,
We're going
John.
to put video on the OnlyFans. I'm taking my shoes off right now. Ooh, there's one. There's two.
There's no video.
There we go.
And now
For our premium
John
subscribers.
does not have shoes on, so enjoy, everybody.
We're just going to have to start bringing Red Bulls to recording nights.
Ooh,
to bring you back up.
No.
'Cause you are...
Gross.
Maybe we just stop. Maybe we drink a drink for the podcast, not just a beer.
Well, what would that be?
We do a beer, then we do an energy drink, then we do a beer, and then we do an energy
All right,
drink.
so we
That
just switch this to a
sounds
wine
like-
podcast?
Or just do this weekly instead of once
So
a
then
month.
it's wine, and I'm like really hyped up.
You do get pretty hyped up on wine.
I do.
Jesus.
It's the suburban mother in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a soccer mom.
I am.
You are like the male soccer mom.
I am all soccer moms incarnate.
So are you going to get a van?
No.
Omega Karen.
No.
Omega Sharon.
Well, I guess unfortunately that's all I got for the NDEs.
That
And
really is.
doesn't sound like
All right, and for our shortest episode ever.
right. Right.
That was like 25 minutes.
Well, that's when I was like, I got like a good 10 minutes of like NDE, and I know the show's just gonna run its own route right into the ground.
we had a really
Side of a
interesting
mountain.
conversation the other night about extensions.
What?
Okay.
Like hair?
You mean when he sat there and took the pigtail from your dryer and plugged it into the fucking wall?
Oh, that was that's a good Jesse story right there. Yeah.
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 Not very proud of that.
Getting set up in my new house, and we get a new cord for the dryer, and Jesse's looking at it in the package. He's like, "You sure it's gonna fit?" And he starts going towards the plug, and this plug is still in the package. And I say, "Jesse, don't plug that in." And then pop, burst of light.
Fucking flashbangs himself.
Jesse,
Biggest burst of light I've ever seen in my life.
Wall.
with all the tails touching each other.
But luckily,
It didn't weld itself together.
It just blew the breaker.
it only blew the breaker, did not light the house on fire, and
Jesse's
Yeah,
still
everything
living.
still worked.
Yeah, just imagine if you were touching the tails when you plugged into that 210.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I'd be blown across the room.
No, because you were between the dryer and the wall.
I just would like
smacked you backwards.
I've seen him like fold over the dryer.
Backwards, folding over.
back broken. Just
he's in 2
man.
pieces. Just a big slush puddle on the ground.
Man.
Then he could have had a near-death experience.
Maybe.
Yeah, God. All right, let's go get another one. You're going to hold on to the one end. We're going to plug it in.
We had a request from a listener who wanted us to talk about how Brian quit his job at a certain trucking company.
No, you didn't.
Yes, we did.
That's not a request from anybody.
It was a request from a listener by the name of James. But he requested it on Facebook, and I thought, well, wait a minute, was there a story there? I don't remember how he quit that job. So I dug a little deeper. And apparently,
you want me to just fucking tell you?
Yeah, tell me in detail, because I hardly remember it at all.
I wrote a note the day before I left to go do training at Woodmiser, and I left it on the desk that said, sorry, I'm a huge coward, but I'm quitting and I can't do it face-to-face. See ya. That's essentially what it was.
I couldn't remember what had happened, and I was asking people, I was like, what is the story here? Because, like,
God, I
people
can
were asking
imagine
about it, and I couldn't remember it.
I can imagine the foreman just like, that motherfucker.
What, you mean Joe?
Yeah, Joe.
He didn't care. He never even called
we were
me.
trying not to throw him
Well,
out there
no,
by
why
name.
would he? But it's just kind of like, now I have no truck washer, did not have any time to possibly get one.
Those were good days, though. You remember when I had a bell?
I burned that bridge, man.
I had a bell, and so we used to call Brian Wash Boy. And I had a bell that I would get out when I needed him, and I'd ring the bell, and I'd go, Wash Boy!
And then I ran it over with the yard horse.
No, you didn't.
Ran one of them over.
One of them. You didn't get the big one.
Well, I was nice enough to not smash the big
Now,
one.
those were just goofy ass days, man.
Yeah, those were good days.
Did not give a fuck.
No, not at all.
That's when I would go take naps in the trailers.
Because none of us were like, oh, this is the place I'm going to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So it's just like, fuck it.
I liked it there.
It was chill.
It was a great place to be.
I got to spray polar bear shit out of a...
I got chimps once.
A what?
Chimpanzee. Also orangutan.
You sprayed orangutan shit out of a trailer?
Yes.
Fucking the zoo, man.
Yeah, it stunk.
Gonna store your shit in a fucking trailer. It's like, thank God I got goggles and a fucking face mask.
I didn't have any of that.
Well, that's because I found it.
Just straight hot, steamy water shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you put the over the bowling shirt on over your clothes, and then you put a sweatshirt on or a jacket that you found.
The bowling shirt.
I love those bowling shirts.
Mine was like 3 sizes too big.
hot.
Fuck, they were hot.
It was all polyester.
Dude, that shit felt like it was melting to your back in the summer.
We had polyester pants and polyester shirts.
And of course, it was all black.
Yeah.
There was a reason I never wore the fucking things.
Well,
Even when I got in
Cool,
trouble.
though. You remember Paul at Domino's?
Paul at Domino's.
Yeah, Paul used to always make our pizzas at Domino's.
I mean, I don't know we'd go there, but I don't ever remember catching the guy's name.
Dude, it was always
or
Paul.
Okay.
Always Paul. He was a good man.
I just the main thing that I remember for a lunchtime thing was either going
Silvers,
to Thai Fusion and getting the hottest pad thai we could get.
which was still a fucking crapshoot of if it was hot or not.
Depended on where you went.
Yeah.
No, if it was Fusion, I said 5. There were days where it
No,
didn't
Fusion was always hot. Orchid was off and
Yeah.
on.
hurt. No, Fusion
Orchid
was
is
off and
always
on.
off or on. And then going to Walmart and getting the couple hour old pizzas for $2.50.
No, you get 2 pounds of General Tso's.
Just 2 pounds of pastrami.
Yeah, but like
Yourself a Ruby.
yeah, but I mean like $2.50 for a large pizza. I mean that's
Well, you had to
That was
cook
pretty
those
good.
still.
No, they were hot. There
Really?
was
Yeah.
a time
No,
when
they were
Walmart was
hot.
doing hot and ready pizzas,
Oh,
and they were $5. But once they were like 2 hours old, they were $2.50.
damn.
And it was always weird because there would always be $2.50 right at lunchtime, which made no sense really. But yeah,
It was intentional, so the employees could pick them up at a 50% discount. So then they get them for $1.25 on their lunch break.
oh,
Yeah, I bet that. I mean, having worked in Walmart, I'm fairly certain the employees did that on purpose, so there'd be something for them.
And then we would sneak in and buy them, and they'd be furious.
Fuck you,
Hey,
employees.
they were out in the public, so fuck them.
Jason had a long tenure with Walmart.
Yeah, right.
So did my brother.
Like maybe
Up to about
3
last
years.
year, yeah.
About 3 years there.
So did my brother. He
Yeah.
ran them.
Ugh. Walmart.
Oh, he had a near-death experience.
No, I think we had to cut that out of an episode in the past.
Yeah, I think we've already.
I don't think we should talk about that.
Why not? It's relevant.
Wait, did he have like a NDE like experience like we're talking about, or are you just talking about?
No, he was close.
So-
He never talked about.
Because there's a difference between an out-of-body experience and an NDE.
Well, I don't think it was either of those.
It wasn't.
Well, okay, so now I'm curious. So what the fuck was
You
it?
know what happened? You remember
With
this?
his brother?
Yeah, his brother-in-law.
No, I don't even know who his brother-in-law is.
Oh wow.
He had a real rough night and
Yeah, December. Real rough night in December.
missed.
And what?
We have to cut it out again because we had to
Okay.
cut it out last time.
Well,
Yeah.
now I don't want to hear the story.
We'll tell you later.
Okay.
I won't.
We'll just cut this little section out of here.
If I can't tell the world.
Yeah, we can leave it.
Right, because that would just make this episode like 30 minutes.
Let's just say the same night he did
We
it,
only just
somebody
hit
else
30
did
minutes.
it with a
We
shotgun.
just hit 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Jesus Christ, Jesse,
hard,
be more
isn't it?
fucking interesting.
Well, I thought, I mean, from my past experience, see, this was a different night. So, like, from my past experience with the podcast,
There was no Brian.
everyone gets about 5 good minutes of their topic, and then the rest is just what the fuck ever may happen. And then this
We stayed on
month
topic, and now
was
we expect
every
you to.
episode has been just like an hour and a half of like the topic.
Jesus Christ.
And so it's like
Coming
well,
in here with no research, unprepared as shit.
Yeah, well, that's because we were just trying to put ourselves in the mind of Brian, which is impossible.
A terrifying place to be.
A terrifying place to
void.
be. It's the
The
void.
inner workings of
The
my...
void only exists in Brian's mind.
Maybe. But at least I'm having a
And
good time.
Brian's sex life.
Well, yeah.
Well, there's no void.
Had to.
There's nothing in the void, John. Not even my sex life.
But you did say that there was creatures in the void, so it's not the void.
So we're talking about Jesse's exes.
Oh God.
I figured we were just talking about Brian's tadpoles are starting to grow legs because he hasn't gotten any yet.
Well, for all our female listeners out there, Jesse's a single man.
So is Brian.
They know that, Brian.
Just thought I'd throw it back on that. I mean, if
Well,
we're...
I think they probably caught that I was a single man last month. Or, well, I guess now.
Well, it became
all the last
official
weeks.
recently.
Yeah, I guess it became extremely official.
Blatantly apparent,
Yeah.
some would say.
Well, you know. Gotta
Gotta go fast.
Gotta cut them off eventually.
Get that, rip them right off the tee,
Yeah,
throw them out the door.
We had an interesting New Year's party, 2020 to 2020. What?
Not really.
Yeah, last
It was
month.
pretty
You
boring.
left 6 hours early.
It wasn't that interesting. I mean,
It got pretty interesting around 4 or 5 a.m.
I wanted to sleep.
By the
And,
way, when I was leaving your house that night,
yeah.
fucking Google lost its goddamn mind.
Yeah.
So
Y2K.
so instead of like turning left
20.
out of and go straight to where I live,
How'd you take the interstate?
you have me take right, go up above the interstate. Like I went past
You fucking
74.
moron.
Well,
You know how to get to your house from there.
You had driven to my house, and then you go to leave, and you
It
have
was
lost
late.
all concept of direction.
it was late. I am fucking night blind as hell,
Yeah,
and I was like, "All right, I'll
and
trust
you only
Google."
take right turns.
did it take you? Did it take?
I did take only right turns.
Yeah, you would have had to at that
Google
point.
has learned you enough that it knows to route you only right turns.
That's a possibility.
So-
Because you can very easily go to my house from here with only right turns. But coming back here from my house, that's quite a ways out of the way.
So it
It
took you
was.
by the Love's gas station?
Yeah. Like I went past 74. I came back that church north of the office. I came back past that.
You went past fucking...
He went to 1,000 and then got on 267 and then went all the way back down.
No,
Yeah, it took me a half hour to get home.
You're 10 minutes from his house.
Less than that.
Wow.
You knew how to get to Brownsburg. You didn't even, like... Why are you telling me to go right? Fuck you. We're going
Jason
left.
lives like 4 miles from me.
All right, it's telling me to go left. You're one of those people that's like, I don't know how I drove down this boat ramp into the ocean. I was just following the GPS.
My Google told me to.
I didn't leave his house till 5 a.m.
5:20, I believe.
No, because I checked my
sure?
timeline. Yeah.
Because I don't think... When did you hit that futon, Jesse?
Dude, I didn't hit that futon till like... He probably left around 5 because I didn't hit the futon till like at least 5:30.
Yeah.
It was fucking late.
That's because we had to eat. At like 5.
No, you guys were sitting there munching on crunchy old sandwiches.
Yeah.
When
that's
I
right.
left.
That's right.
What happened to my Doritos?
We threw
I
them
had
away.
thrown that old Burger King burger into the air fryer. And I was like crisping it up like a few minutes at a time. I'd eat around the edges, then throw it back in, then eat around the edges.
So very disturbing.
What happened to your what, Brent?
Where's my Doritos?
They're still there.
Okay.
I was just
One of
smashing
them's
cold
unopened.
I know.
pizza rolls. Trying to soak up some
that's
wine.
The fun thing is that Jesse called me before the party and he was like, yeah, I'm thinking I'll get some Doritos. I was like, no, don't get Doritos because I don't want like Brian to have like cheesy fingers and rub them on the couch.
I've never rubbed my fingers on your fucking couch.
Sure enough, Brian shows up with Doritos.
Doritos and Taxman.
Yeah,
Lots of tax
that
man.
made up for
I
it.
don't
And
think
Guinness.
I don't think my bags of chips even got opened.
No, the kids have been eating them the last few days.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Are they eating the Doritos?
Your chips started an argument of wavy versus ridges.
That was
rippled.
That was
Rippled,
my
whatever.
That was my whole point.
It was wavy, ruffles, ridges, rippled. There's lots of different kinds of, corrugated chips.
That was the whole point. I was like, I'm going to bring both of these bags and just let people just fucking
Start
fight.
a chip company and have corrugated chips.
There you go.
Corrugated.
Well, corrugated would ensue that there is a flat, then the wavy in the middle, and then another flat.
No.
That would be horrible to chew on.
You got to make the first stamped chip.
You know what's like?
Yeah.
You know what's like a really good idea, but sucks to eat?
What?
Frito scoops.
I love those.
Those are great. What are you talking about?
Well, like they're a good idea. You can scoop up whatever dip you're using, but like trying.
Fritos, man. I just eat them.
I'm talking about like the corn chip, not.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're Fritos.
You
They're
just
great.
eat.
I just eat Fritos, man.
So do I.
I feel like I'm just like.
I mean, yeah, it's good with like some chili and some cheese or something.
Oh, I see. I
But,
think
like-
that's what I'm thinking. You were thinking of the two different chips here.
I just eat Fritos, man.
I'm thinking of two different chips.
No,
here.
we're not. We're talking about Fritos corn chips, the yellowy,
No,
greasy
no.
corn
I'm
chips.
talking about the Scoops tortilla chips.
You're talking about Tostitos.
Tostitos.
Scoops that are so
Yes.
weak that they can't hold anything.
Yes,
I just eat those.
but the scoop ones, so that you can scoop up whatever.
Yeah,
but
but
like
they're too weak.
trying to eat them just like destroys your mouth.
Oh,
What are you?
They're pretty
What
soft.
kind of Tostitos are you eating? Steel?
Like I said, the Tostito scoops. You know what? Never mind.
You know what's the best chip, though?
What's the best chip?
I mean, there's no argument here, but
Like,
what is
if
the
you
best
ask
chip?
me-
No, this is not an opinion question. I'm asking you, what is the right answer? What is the best chip?
Pringle.
Pringle's not a chip.
Pringle is not the correct answer, but it is a close, probably top 5.
Again, Pringle's
What
not
is-
a chip because it's extruded.
No, it's not about that. It's about what's sold as a chip, not what's officially scientifically a chip. What is the best chip? You can get this wrong.
Dorito.
Nope.
Lay's.
Nope.
I see. Like now, I just feel like
Sun
it's a
chip?
trick question.
It's the sun chip.
No, it's not. Those
That
things.
is the best chip. That's
No,
a
they're
fact. It's a fact.
Yeah, like sun.
I'll admit, like
the
Harvest
Sun
Cheddar.
chips.
Any of the flavors. Sun chips are amazing.
No, they're not. They're
Harvest
awful.
Cheddar.
What?
That's the only thing I look forward to at Subway.
The
Have you
what?
had the garden salsa?
No.
No.
Yeah,
Garden
well,
salsa
I-
sun
I-
chips
I'll-
have like this little bit of spiciness to them. They're so good.
They're all right, but
Or
like
the sweet
cheddar,
potato, brown sugar.
the cheddar sun chips
Mhm.
are
Like I'll
supreme.
go to
Yes, they
Subway
are supreme chips.
for the chips and just get a sandwich on the side. Like the chips are the reason for going there.
Yeah.
You ever put the chips on the sandwich?
I don't do that.
I don't do it much, but when I do, I'm like, why don't I do this more?
I do it at Jimmy John's. I don't do it at Subway.
Oh yeah, Jimmy John's with like the
I like
the
do
hard
it every time at Jimmy John's.
hard baked chips.
Yeah, because like their sandwiches are so bland.
Mediocre.
Yeah,
it is just the
like at Subway, my sandwiches are too wet.
Watch your dad like, what do you guys want for lunch tomorrow at work? And it'll end up being Jimmy John's.
There's only one person that ever suggests Jimmy John's.
Your dad?
No.
Tom from accounting?
Nathan. He doesn't listen to the podcast. So we can tear him a new one.
What a prick.
No, basically what it boils down to every single time is
We all like it, but
I
his
used to
dad
love
will
Jimmy
ask,
John's, but
what do you guys want for lunch? And we'll all sit there and stare blankly
until someone says something.
until
That's
somebody
the
says something, and that's what we end up doing.
We should just start immediately speaking first. Every Monday,
but
let's say Thai.
anything, just
Immediately.
randomly, just anything.
Just Thai.
Italian.
Yeah,
Because like Jason and I are always happy with some Thai, but everyone else never thinks to say it. They're always like,
where else is there to
Pizza?
go? Where's there to go
Jimmy
for Thai
John's.
in Brownsburg?
There's 2 Thai restaurants in Brownsburg.
Where's that at?
There's 3.
Thai basil.
No, there's Thai Basil and there's Thai District.
Oh, there's also like Tito's or something or other. What it was?
Tito's.
What?
Nah, never mind. I remember there's another Thai place that I ordered from on Uber Eats, but I know there's been a couple of times where I've ordered far outside of Brown.
Yeah, and I think that's what you did. You'll order something from like the north side of Indianapolis.
Yeah.
You'll be, why is it taking so long to get here? Oh.
Even though the same restaurant exists like a block away.
You've ordered from the far away one.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Don't
Yeah, there was
move.
something you did that with. Like, you ordered from a restaurant that was in town, but you ordered at a location that was like 20 miles away.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, you ordered from the wrong Taco Bell.
I'm like, Taco Bell, and now, maybe it's just the holiday weekend, but there are no couriers available. I was like,
The Taco Bell around here has been a little iffy lately. They seem to shut down whenever they feel
Yeah.
like.
but even like just to get Yamato, like there's no drivers. Like, cool.
So I'm definitely going to Taco Bell after this.
If it's open, last time we had to go to Culver's.
No, I know, but it's also not 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, that's right. It's not late.
It's 7.
We're definitely
it's
going to
quarter
Taco Bell
7.
after this. We're definitely doing that.
Hey, let's wrap this up, okay?
Well, you
let's wrap this
ride.
up.
So, like, I have to go where you go.
Hey, I think this episode's over. I hope everyone enjoyed this piece of shit episode.
Yeah.
fun, everybody.
Jesse continuing to bring the podcast down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like you have never done that before.
This
Oh, I'm sorry. What was it you were saying about me extending the podcast super long this
We're not
time?
saying that that's necessarily a good thing.
It's ironic that the near-death experience episode is the most near-death this podcast has ever been.
Right.
I don't have any
like-
lived experience. with this.
It's disheartening because I was so proud of this idea. I was like, oh, I know something I could bring. And
And then you saw the time
Well,
scale.
so
Yeah.
and
the
you're like,
toughest
oh,
thing,
nothing.
the toughest thing about hosting an episode is trying to fill the first, because like you gotta kind of bridge that 30-minute mark before you totally open it up.
John, I think I hit that
Well,
like
and then
50
Trying to
minutes.
fill
But
that
then,
is
like-
really hard.
like there was one story that I could have read.
Mhm.
Okay.
It was like 20
Now-
pages.
And it was like 4 pages on my phone.
I've done that.
And I was like, dude, I am not, because I'm terrible at reading out loud and I'm not putting everyone through that.
I've done that.
Yeah. John did his with fucking accents.
Yep.
Ooh,
I smell that, Brian.
Ooh,
But like
that's
John,
stinky.
John's a great reader.
I'm not. I really.
Well, you're
I-
better
so
than me. I have to sit there and pronounce every word, even though I know them.
I cannot read out loud. So like, whenever I start reading out loud and have to read off paper, I can't focus, and I feel like a little kid who can't read, and I start drooling.
My name is
Because I
John.
don't know when to swallow, because I don't want to take the breaks to swallow, because I know you can hear it over the mic if I'm like reading real close. and I
Every
just
time
go,
you get a period,
you know, and so like I'll just keep going and going without swallowing, and like saliva will build up in my mouth, and
I'm
I'm
going
like,
to bring you,
I'm just tripping over it.
next time we record, I'm going to bring you an SCP file, and I just want you to read it off.
I'm never gonna read an SCP.
No, read it out loud, and let's see what it sounds like, because it's just a medical doctor.
Oh, it'd be so boring.
But you also realize that I do edit these, so if you needed to take time between your words, you can.
Through the magic of movie editing.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Try to save you the time.
I still have to go through it every minute because I never know what Brian's going to slip
We
in.
have all these weird edits where everybody knows it's John swallowing his spit.
I try and smooth them out.
Are you saying that I am some kind of horrible human being that just shouts obscenities and racist slurs?
One of these days, we're going to record
We have
after a
cut
day of
whole
hard...
sections of episodes because of you.
Yay.
One of these days, we're going to do an episode of, or after some hard labor, and we're going to have constant cuts where you're vomiting.
Hold on, guys.
Yeah, I'll get the bucket right here and we can just...
We'll put a bucket in here.
No.
Ryan will fill it with cottage cheese as the episode goes on.
I'm going to say...
And then we'll measure how
for
much
the,
cottage cheese is in there.
For the next episode, instead of a beer, it's just
refrigerate it, and Jason can bring it to
2%.
work for lunch.
I'm gonna say, if fucking Hololive can eat spicy ramen and vomit in front of thousands of people, I think I can
But
too.
really, though, Brian makes pristine-looking cottage cheese.
It tastes good too.
How many episodes are you going to bring this up in?
I'll never forget.
All of them until he forgets the image of his hand sinking into it, which will follow him to his deathbed. Because that's his life flashing before his eyes. Is his hand?
Well,
just
That's his near-death
I'm
experience.
so horribly disgusted by vomit.
and yet you had 2 children.
Like, what does that have to do with vomit?
They throw up on everything.
No, they don't.
You had a dog that threw up all the time.
No, he didn't. He pissed on everything, so I got rid of him.
Oh yeah,
That and
I put him down.
that and like to me,
I gave
baby
him to a nice
a baby
family.
doing what baby does is a lot different than a full-grown man.
Are you saying
doing
my
that
vomit
stuff.
is somehow worse than a child's?
Plus, my kids didn't really
Yeah.
puke
Your
that
vomit
much.
is somehow worse than a human being's.
Because a baby will just vomit, obviously, stomach fluid and baby formula or
Yeah, it's
milk.
like kind of powdery.
And it's just kind of like, you know exactly what it is. When you vomit, I'm like, no.
I don't know, because like I've had multiple times with you where you'll just start chewing on something. I'll be like, "What are you eating?" And you'll be like, "Oh, I just threw up a piece of meat in my mouth."
And it's just like,
just chew it.
see,
Well, yeah,
babies
you gotta-
don't do that.
You got to break it back down. Well, babies don't have teeth
Just
either.
spit it
Babies-
out.
babies
Don't eat it
just-
again. You're like, "Ooh, later snack."
It still tastes good.
Babies just upchuck a little bit and it's all good. Usually you're prepared for that.
Plus, there's like a biological system where you actually care about your children.
Well, yeah, of course. Of course.
Are you saying nobody cares about Brian?
I remember the best.
No,
vomit.
we care about you. That's why we would wish you would figure out why the fuck you vomit so
Yeah,
much.
we want you to go to a doctor.
No,
Because we care about you.
I don't want to find out.
The best vomit of my life, though. I'll never forget this. You know those like wafers, like strawberry wafers?
Oh, hell yeah.
You know?
Like the honeycomb wafers?
Yeah, sort of like the Nabisco makes and like
It's
you
the
can get
pink stick.
yeah, the pink stick.
Get them all
And,
the time in preschool.
Yeah, so my parents, when I was like 4 years old, bought a big tub of those.
And you ate like all
You know,
of them.
for overtime. And I just sat down and ate the whole tub one night when they weren't around. And man, I threw up such a pure pink. It was so long. It was like the color of this beer.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
That was like when I drank all
Or
of
it's just like overeating and then like you finally like relieve yourself of that shit.
You mean pooping or?
No.
I've never thrown up from overeating since
Well,
I was
it's-
like a little kid.
It's not something that like I would do all the time
Okay,
because
so-
I'm not going to say.
I'm not a binge and purge kind of guy.
We got to go into this here. This is a little snippet of like growing up with my dad. We would, every once in a while, we would take my sister to go to her dad's, and I would go with him and we would do something. And we would always stop at the Ryan's Buffet in Lafayette, Indiana. And I would gorge myself, you know? And there was this one time I grabbed a whole bunch of stuff and like it was like ice cream and stuff, but then there's also like steak on the plate. And my dad was like, "No, we're not leaving until you finish that stuff, like that steak. You're just sitting here eating ice cream. Finish that steak." Well, it was buffet steak, so it's super chewy and awful. So I just remember sitting at this table as a little kid, and I'm chewing this steak, and then I just threw up all over the table. So then we had to go leave to pay, and as we're walking out, I said, "I'm hungry." Because I'd thrown up all my foods. So he bought me gummy worms for the road. After just gorging myself to the point of vomiting, he bought me gummy worms.
So like what little nourishment you might have gotten from buffet food, here's some fucking gummy worms.
Now everybody thinks I'm the fat guy.
That's okay. We'll let everyone think that you're the fat guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, everybody, this has been one extremely off topic because the topic kind of sucked.
I think what it was is that these two had checked out.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't check out. I was just...
I mentally checked out during
Where was I
Brian's
supposed
episode.
to come in? You mentally checked... Was I the reason?
No.
It's just
it
like
wasn't a check
I guess
out.
it just wasn't enough material. I'll have to know that for next time.
If
it
that
sounds
was
like-
a next time guest
Then, like
boy.
the last three episodes were just like hammers of episodes to like try and follow behind.
It sounded like you were rushing through your notes.
I think
Yeah.
this one
Indeed.
went
Well,
well.
there was of course like those nervousness, but anyway, have a good night, everybody.
How dare you, you fucking whore. Have a good night, everybody.
No, that's not even it, Brian. You corrected him to say the wrong thing.
Have a good day, everybody.
No.
I don't fucking remember.
Have fun, everybody.
Have fun, everybody.
Have fun, everybody.